We're a little annoyed. Our other phone, this is an old phone that just still connects to internet. Our other phone ran out while we were doing our face, like our base is done now. And me, Quinn, and Moss were talking about what DID is like, or OSDD. We lump them together. We have not been formally diagnosed to distinguish, which one we would fall under, but we also kind of see that very much as like pathology more than anything particularly significant. The biggest difference is severity of symptoms and amnesiatic walls between the alters with DID. Which is why sometimes you'll see us stylize it as OSDDID. That's like a, and internationally, there really is just DID and partial DID, which is more in line with our experiences. We tend to have a lot of backseat drivers, but are a pretty regular chauffeur, so to speak, a pretty regular host. We experience each other much more than we interact with the outside world, which is what this is for. Try to get us out there a little. Me, Quinn, trying not to look at myself, and we're doing more mask makeup today. Like, makeup does make me feel masculine when it's done right. I'm gonna prime my eyes a little. And obviously this is just what we're wearing at home, not what we're wearing out. So we have therapy today with our therapist, who we are still quite new to, still figuring out. We do like her, at least as a person. She's really funny. She's very like spunky. I don't know how to explain her. She's really cool. Very like different approach from any other therapist we've had before. So currently, like, we don't have any like doubts about her. It's just, we're just still in the process of kind of figuring out and understanding, what her approach is and how working with her will be different. So me, Quinn, God, see, do you see how we hate it? Because if I walk in and I say, hey, it's me, it's not my face you're seeing, it. And it's weird to talk about yourself in third person. To me, for me. It would be really helpful if it wasn't weird for me, but it still is. I'm not doing a lot with my eyes because, again, we're doing like a mask kind of alt look. Pour moi. With this little eyebrow slick Katrina is responsible for. We don't hate it. I don't do a lot with my brows. I like my natural brows. Other than the slit, obviously, I just kind of reinforce them. Especially this tail, after we did shave the slit, looks really Austin Matthews hairline. Somebody got that joke, you're welcome. And if you're a Leafs fan, deal, cope. I don't know what to tell you. God, why is this one so hard to, there we go. So I guess I will have to reiterate, and that means that the first video was just a rehearsal, I guess. So DID and OSDD, dissociation and alters in general. I know I think it was Rain had talked on one of these about it before, as being from experiencing multiple adverse childhood experiences, which can be an array of things, from homelessness and poverty to, you know, an abusive parent to obviously like sexual abuse and physical abuse. When I say abuse, like even if just having your parents screaming at each other regularly as you grow up as a child is so disruptive and so scary. And to your nervous system, things that seem not as big of a deal can still really affect you depending on your age and your headspace when you encounter it and all of that stuff. So like the trauma Olympics of like what happened to cause it is useless because your nervous system sees a threshold and that's it. Or a threshold exceeded. You know, wherever your line is at, once it's crossed, and it doesn't matter what crossed it. I don't want to use that one. There we go. So you have these adverse experiences before your brain, at anyone's brain, it's usually about like 5 or 6. And if you have kids or like have kids in your life, this should probably make sense to you that there's an age around 5 or 6 where all of a sudden they have a lot of agency. They love to have their own personality. They don't really listen as much. They're just much more self-possessed. And so you form that sense of identity in your childhood, and when things happen to disrupt that integration and building of a singular self, that's where you get breakages. That's where you get me, a trauma holder, so that River could go on and go to school and be a regular kid as much as possible, without holding on to and having to constantly be aware of all the shit they've been through. This, of course, has its disadvantages, and the fact that with the amnesia and dissociation from it, they didn't know how to ask for help. And also in a lot of abuse, there's shame and concern that you, the child, the victim, will be blamed in some way, that you've done something wrong. Which is typically something that the abusers count on, or will even reinforce, of like, if you ever tell your mother, I'll fucking kill you. If you ever tell anyone, they'll never believe you. If you ever tell anyone, you know, they'll think this, that, and the other about you, etc. So it's unfortunately one of the reasons why it goes undiagnosed for so long, because it hides so that, you know, the whole person can still function to some degree. And once your brain has that pattern and that method of processing, it just continues to do so. As more and more trauma comes in and overwhelms the system, the nervous system, and the system, you know, more containers are needed to take on all of that and process it and survive. And that's where you get, you know, what it used to be called, unfortunately, is inaccurate in the sense that it's not a personality disorder. The disordered part of it, the part that makes your life difficult, is the dissociation. It's not a personality disorder. No shade to personality disorders, it just isn't. But like multiple personality disorder is like much more self-explanatory. And that's what it used to be called. Both DID and OSDD were previously called multiple personality disorder. So if you've continued to call that, or like split personalities, that's incorrect. Technically, I don't know. I still use it in the sense of saying it used to be called, because then if people don't know what other specified dissociative disorder or even dissociative identity disorder is, you know, they'll know that one just if they know English. Or they'll understand that one just from the name of the disorder itself. Your boy's creasing. Yeah, I'm going very light on the eyes because I'm going for my mask look. This is like not a daily look for me. Like if I'm gonna wear makeup, this is it, unless it's on stage. Just blotting away sweat, the constant sweat. Any other SSRI users constantly fucking sweating? It's the only thing I don't miss about being on testosterone. Literally the only thing I don't miss about being on testosterone is how much I would fucking sweat. I just feel like this one contour line is kind of harsh. You know what? I'm good with it. I'm good with it. I don't want to go too out of my way with it. Let me put a little bit of this away first. I wish I remembered everything that I had said in the last one. I feel like this has been a little more concise though about like that's how we split, that's what the splits are like and why. At least in theory. I mean, obviously it's all still just theory. Like the idea that alters always fall into roles and they always have some kind of purpose in the system. You can always find a purpose for them. They can always find a purpose for themselves within the system. But there's not some kind of, you know, wizard goes, a protector. Though, me personally, I do feel like protector is kind of like part of my DNA. That has always been my primary role. Which is very sweet that when we're in therapy and I get kind of shy and lean back, Moss takes over pretty quickly. As you have seen in this, we bloop, 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 very back and forth. Just to help me out, just to support me, and that's really sweet. And hopefully today, because now we've done our one in person, we've done a few remote with her before we moved up here, and then we finally did our first actual appointment at her office a couple weeks ago. We do a 2-hour bi-weekly rather than an hour every week. Okay, I paused you just for a second while I let this lip dry. Yes, I only do my top lip. It's just my look. I don't know why. I just like it. Thinking about maybe doing the dark brown on the bottom this time, but nah, not this time. And then I can clean up any transfer later. Last time we went, I had essentially this look on, and I put on a lip oil on my bottom lip like a fucking idiot, and it just degraded, like completely melted the matte lipstick, and it was just so patchy and gross. And I didn't realize it until I got back to my car. So she just talked to us for 2 hours with the patchiest black lipstick. God bless. No, she is nice. That's the biggest thing for us, is it has to be someone that we feel comfortable with. And yeah, so far we feel pretty comfortable with her. I think we're done. I think we had our little dissociative disorder learning session, I guess. Which for me is self-advocacy, you know, because it's such a misunderstood, stigmatized disorder. And you can fake claim me all you want. You're not my therapist. You're not my psychologist. You're not on my care team. You can think whatever you want about us. I'm looking in a mirror right now just to make sure. Oh, I should bring you here. 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 Okay, ignore the transfer on the bottom lip. I will take care of that. The look. I feel like I need a little more here. Yeah, better. Okay, I'm gonna ignore the spaghetti straps, right? Respect the boyness. Respect the pretty boy. Oh yeah, transphobes get mocked and blocked, so like don't even fucking bother. Yeah, what a weird fucking ramble today. All right, bye.